I'm Toni Valliere with Verified Investing. Here's what's making headlines today. Private sector job growth rises more than expected in December. The ADP National Employment Report shows companies hired 164,000 new workers last month, well surpassing the 130,000 gain that was predicted. In addition, the jobless claims dropped by 18,000 to a nearly 3-month low of 202,000. Ford Motor reports a 7.1% increase in new vehicle sales as the industry as a whole is marking its best year since 2019. Apple is hit with a second downgrade this week as concerns over iPhone sales continue to grow. And Walgreens nearly halved its dividend to save more money despite reporting better than expected quarterly profits. Well, after days of being down, stocks made a turnaround today. Let's take a look at where things stand right now, just minutes before the close. S&P 500 is down just 15. The Dow back up 29 right now. NASDAQ is down 74, and the Russell is up. Oil just down slightly. I've got a special guest today, verified trader and crypto trader Paul Sampson, and he's in studio today. Welcome. So good to have you and see you in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Usually we have you on Zoom, but we want to talk about some of the big takeaways from today. What have you been watching?
Yeah, absolutely, and great to be here. It's been a fun day so far, hanging out with everybody on the trading floor. Last time we spoke was last week at the end of the year, and I was kind of like
last year.
Yeah, exactly. We're just kind of like letting things kind of settle down, seeing how things were going to open up into this year. So at the moment, I have the S&P pulled up here, and one thing that I believe we were looking at together was this quarterly range that I had kind of identified on the last update as well. So we were coming right into the high, which was right up there about that $4,800 level, and at the moment we're getting a bit of a pullback here. So one thing that I utilize is that I look at things a little bit more so on the time side. So when a quarter closes, months, years, you get a nice new range of data, I guess you could say. And one of those things is that when looking at this whole time frame, you have a point of control, which is right here, which is a major volume target. So this is the number. This is the highest area of traded volume during Q4, right? So while we remain in this range, this does become a very high likelihood that we come back down to that region. I've also highlighted this area right here, so it's right at 45.55 in confluence with that region. That is the average of last quarter as well, so similar to like a moving average. This does not move, and that is a high likelihood that we will return to that as well. Looking at this a little bit more, in a sense of over time, we have the bottom of the range, and we have a golden pocket here that I've pulled from the recent low to the local high, and that does kind of coincide with that. So overall, the S&P, unless we start really breaking back above that high, I do kind of anticipate we're going to at least come down into this region here, which is not too far away from where we are now, and then potentially even make our way down into this region, potentially in the next few weeks here.
Okay, so that would be the next support line.
Correct.
That you're looking at. What about JP Morgan Chase? I know you've been following that today.
Yeah, absolutely. So JP had a really big, huge move to the upside over, I believe it's like the last 10 weeks. We were taking a look at that earlier. So kind of highlight there. And
yeah, it's quite a climb there.
Yeah, and essentially the few things I have highlighted here is similar to the S&P. I've highlighted last quarter's range here. We're well away from it at the moment. The big key level that I've been paying attention for, which if you were to zoom out and look at this in the sense of, scoop, I'll just zoom out and let you see. If you zoom out in the sense of where the last high was, this is actually all the way back in 2021, which was right here. So we have basically a double top going on in the sense of this on the daily time frame at the moment, especially as we're coming into the close. So a pretty good potential short on our hands here, and a really nice stop loss essentially, which is right above the high here. So essentially, if we're invalidated if we start living back above that 172, the high from last, that recent high anyways. And that's what we're looking for higher. Otherwise, I'm looking a bit lower here. We've got a similar situation where we have the average of price for last quarter, which high likelihood we come back to that at some point in this quarter. Did just start, so maybe that takes weeks, months, but either way, that's a target I'm targeting down to, potentially 158. And then we have our quarterly range highlighted in this region. Bounces along the way I'm sure will be had, but if we were to make our way back into this area, I'm targeting into the 145 region and potentially all the way down into the 143s. But not getting too ahead of myself at the moment, just really looking to see if we come down to that 158, and once again, just 173, start living above. We'll probably get another run to the upside there.
Something to keep an eye on. Some of the big market movers today include Walgreens. They nearly have their dividends. Intel, Apple downgraded for a second time this week, and then Eli Lilly. What have you been looking at?
So I got actually Apple and Eli Lilly both on here, and Apple's been one that we've discussed a few times as well. A big one that I've been looking at for quite a few months here, actually, and let me zoom it over here a little bit better behind me. And a similar, aspect here, right? So once again, we were looking at this into the end of the year. It's kind of hard to tell how things are going to start to play out. But what did we do? We come up, basically took the high of that range, and now, in theory, looking at this in the sense of a volume-based range, you would anticipate to rotate the range, which means come back, cycle it to the bottom at the end of the day. So at the moment, we've come down, we've met our point of control, which is our volume target. And once again, highest area of volume for the last quarter on Apple. We've since then made a huge plunge down, and we're making our way right now down to the bottom. We've got a gold pocket here, which is essentially just pulled from this low to this high. So if you were to cut that up into 100%, that's 61 to 65% of this move getting retraced, which is a high likelihood as well.
Okay.
So that's the next area I'm looking for here. And the big thing for me on Apple in a bigger, higher time frame, I guess, is that if we break out of this range to the downside, which once again, you're probably going to see some bounces along the way, especially after just consistent downside at the moment. But I do actually target like down to 150 potentially if we start to make our way down there. And that's once again a target that I've been looking for. Looking to start to see a decline for the last couple months here.
And why that number?
So this is also when zooming out a bit.
Zoom out. Okay,
Yep.
I figured. This goes.
So now this is a little bit more bigger, right?
So
we're looking at maybe the next few days and weeks, and now this is probably like the next few months here. But if you were to take the low right here and the highs now and pull a Fibonacci pull, gold pocket lines up right in this region right there.
Okay.
We've also have from last year an untapped average of price from the quarter of last year, and we have another naked point of control, which once again is just a high volume target. Doesn't necessarily mean any of those have to get hit. The fact that they're just all stacked on top of each other, and then once again, it's just an area I'm looking for if we start to come down any lower. Once we get down to like 177, we'll see how things look.
That's what you're eyeing. Okay, and then Eli Lilly.
Yeah.
Another big market mover today.
Yeah, so similar to JP Morgan. I was actually on the trading floor with the gentleman today out here.
Yeah, it was good to have you in the
Yeah, it was pretty fun. There's a nice energy going on. And I was, while they were kind of looking through this and trading out, I was kind of building out a chart here on LOY, and it was kind of the first time I took a look at it. And one of the few things I noticed right off the rip is a similar situation to JP Morgan, I believe, right? So you had not necessarily a double top, but you did just have a really nice high come in here. And one of the things that I like to point out, for especially when trading, right? You have all this time where people are going long, people are going short. A lot of times you'll either come back down to the top or the bottom. A lot of people refer to it as like liquidation chasings or fake outs or whatever, tactics to stop out certain traders, right? And if we are to have a short here, anybody that had been going short in this region, their stop loss was most definitely above that high. And essentially you've come up, you've taken that high. This was also basically our yearly high, last quarter's high. So those are all very significant levels to just kind of keep aware of as you're going on anyhow. And then what did we do? We closed back below it. Definite short opportunity right here. Whether or not we come all the way down to a couple of these levels I have highlighted is the question. We do have a gap right there, it looks like. Let me go ahead and turn off.
This was a reaction possibly to the news that they will have home deliveries now, the new website with their popular weight loss drug.
Right.
Or drugs, I should say, multiple.
They had there's like a service brought to you, right? Or something of that nature.
Yes, exactly. Delivery, yeah.
So there's definitely some excitement there. And then a lot of times what you'll see is you'll get that excitement along with the news and people jump in and then you get, just shot right out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am looking down. You got a nice little gap right there that I'm sure will come down to. It's not too far away from where we are now. And then 576 is what I'm looking to. And then potentially we have, some more moves to the downside here. And once again, it's just something we'll monitor as we kind of go along.
Sure. Okay. You are our seasoned crypto trader. So what have you been following in the cryptoverse?
So we've covered a lot of crypto in the past, some of the altcoins and things like ICP and Solana and Cardano as they were coming into those yearly targets at the end of the year. I kind of pulled a lot of my holdings out and just kind of like in preparation for a potential pullback and just kind of see how things were for the beginning of this year. And so far, we're getting a little bit of a move here, and let's see here, yeah.
Little rebound, right, from yesterday's crypto crash with Bitcoin?
Bitcoin for me is a big one, right? So you'll see I have a lot of things kind of stacked up down here, and these are some key levels that I've been looking for basically on this whole ride up, and there's actually several more below. And what's interesting is that when you get one of those huge rises up really, really fast, a lot of times we'll come back and fill a lot of those voids, depending on the time, of course. And now that we've closed the year, we're into a new quarter, we're into a new month, all these things, you kind of have to pay attention for those. And this one right here was a pretty classic previous week. I bring that up all the time, right? So just at the end of the year there, we had the last holiday week, and anybody that had gotten long in this region, right, they probably had their stop loss somewhere along the line right below the weekly low. You had people moving their stop losses up. This comes down just enough to get everybody out, and then we run it back. We basically just eaten up all that back up to where we were yesterday. So the question is here, is that do we come back up and actually make another move higher? I actually am in the camp that we might see a little bit more of a downside move, and the biggest reason for that is when I look at Bitcoin, and in the sense of thinking about taking all the lows or knocking traders out of the market and things like that. If you come over to this region here, kind of zoom it in a little bit so you can see.
Oh yeah.
Although we did come down to that area, you can see that we still have all the lows pretty much intact from this region over here. Wasn't too much of a pullback in reality. It was enough to probably fuel a little bit of a move to the upside. I do target this 45K, which was the target for today, which we're almost coming into. 46,200 is kind of the next line in the sand. If we climb over that, then I would say that that's the jaunt to 48 to 50. But I really am anticipating, or don't want to say the word anticipating like it's like a done deal, but what I'm looking to is to see the reaction around these regions we are here, because everybody's probably jumping in. We got ETF excitement all over the place.
As early as next week.
Exactly. So for me, I just there's a lot of reasoning behind this. I won't get into it right now, but there's a lot of really great key levels that I've identified down below us, and they're quite a way away. The first one's starting at 39,500, and I wouldn't be too shocked if we were to come up and make a move, similar to this, and then maybe come down even down to 39,500. Now we're talking taking all those lows, and then potentially getting that move up that everybody's looking for. So that's where I'm really at right now with Bitcoin. It's definitely a time to be cautious, as we've seen a 200% rally in the year, and everybody's getting excited now.
Just huddle and chill.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anything else in the crypto world?
Yeah, Ethereum. So Ethereum actually made a little bit of a different move there, right? So how I was looking for Bitcoin to come down a little bit lower, Ethereum actually did quite that. So you see how we have all these wick lows here over last week, right? Boom, boom, boom. We actually came down and spiked past all that for Ethereum really nicely. And on the last couple of videos that we've done together through Zoom, I highlighted these two gray boxes as my next areas I'd want to buy Ethereum to kind of see that move up, potentially 2,600 to 3,200. And we front ran it a little bit, which I was a little upset about, but we came
so close.
We came very close.
Kissed it.
And you had a 10% bounce right away. For me, I'm just kind of really paying attention to Bitcoin to see how things play out. But I
and
still,
everyone else, right? Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't, I could still see a potential move back down to these areas once again. Like I said, even potentially down like right below 2K. In the short term here. So we'll have to see how those go. But other than that, I think that's about all I got.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. Great to have you here in studio.
Same.
And you can catch Paul on his own show, The Bottom Line, where he and Ben Poole delve into crypto and stocks, both with very unique perspectives. That airs at 4 p.m. every Friday right here on the Verified Investing YouTube channel. And that does it for Trading the Close on this Thursday. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week.